Okay, guys, so today is, why do I always have to look at my phone? I can never remember the date. Today is August the 22nd, and today is our Tuesday team training call. And as we said, the last couple of calls, we've had some amazing guest speakers. And I think that sometimes you have to get perspective from different people because you probably get tired of hearing Lucy and myself. So that's why we did this. So hopefully it's helping y'all. I know y'all were pumped last week. So yeah, I did. Okay, so we're again, because we want to keep our guest speakers' time mindful. We're not going to go into any numbers. However, I think in the way of news is just the same thing. Make sure that you're checking your workstation. Make sure that you're keeping up with your incentive trip tracker because we are well on our way. Make sure that you have your transition testers because it is transition month. Make sure that you're sharing the opportunity everywhere you go and that you're finding new people to plug into. So today, let me just say it was kind of a funny situation how we met Theresa. So Lucy and myself, we had an ordeal. We all did, not just us two, but we were on our way to New York and we got diverted and we had to land in, do I remember where? Where did we land?
Baltimore.
Baltimore, there you go. So we got diverted to Baltimore because they told us at the last, like a few minutes before, that we thought we were going to land in New York, but we actually didn't have enough gas. And we had been flying because the strip was closed down. So it was a pretty funny situation. But when we got there, we basically couldn't fly out and we had to figure out how we were going to get to New York. So guess what we did in true Scentsy style? We put, how many of us were in a car, in a van?
Gosh, 7? 6.
Probably 7 or 8.
And Bubba?
With Bubba and all of our luggage. And you know how me and Jessica pack. And we were going to York, so it was like triple what we normally pack. And we were in the middle of a snowstorm, actually. So just imagine.
It was crazy. And Theresa and myself were in the back, like, as close as we could, like we were gonna make it there one way or another. But that is how we met, Theresa.
Driving in a snowstorm.
And I'm gonna let basically the topic that we asked Theresa to talk about was going to be so you recruited somebody, and whether you're new or you've been with Scentsy for a while, you know, what is her take on what she does to make her new consultants be successful? I didn't get a lot of Theresa's intro, but what I do know is that she was on the top 100 to Africa. So this girl rocks her business. So I'm going to go ahead and let Theresa, let me spotlight you really quick. Take on over. Go ahead, girl.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak with your team too, Lucy and Jessica. It's definitely an honor and a privilege. I'll kind of give you guys just a little bit of a background about myself and where I started, because I've been with Scentsy for 2 years, and I just kind of joined by default because I was an avid customer, shopped all the time, but my consultant moved out of state. Her husband was retiring from the military, so I joined and just to kind of get the discount, and I started playing around with it a little bit. I was really interested in the trips because every time I went to see her, she was telling me about a trip that they were going on, either going to Cancun or going to the Bahamas, and I love to travel. Well, when I signed up and I got my kit, I forget where the incentive trip was, but as soon as I found out that we had to sponsor, I was like, well, then that's a wrap, because I'm not doing that. I just kind of already told myself that's just not even a part of the equation. So I didn't. And as far as sales were concerned, I lived on a military base in a very, very small town. I live in Abilene, Texas. You probably never even heard of it because I didn't before I moved there. But the odds were stacked up against me because I didn't have a sponsor. My sponsor moved again to one of those M states, Minnesota, one of them, I don't know. So I was kind of winging it, and YouTube and what else was it? Google was my friend, the workstation, of course. But for a year, I did not recruit. I was having so much fun with Scentsy. I loved the bars, loved the scents, loved the warmers. And I met new friends because I was actually working at home too. So at the time I was working in the airline security industry for, oh goodness, I think 15 years, a very high stress level position. I was also volunteering on base as a key spouse. So a lot of demands on me. But anyway, I share all that with you because, it kind of takes every excuse off the table. No sponsor, small town, a whole bunch of consultants. And that's another reason why I just said, I'm not going to go big with this because I was just kind of driving in my neighborhood and I didn't know anyone really, but I saw the Scentsy Consultant signs on the backs of their car. So I was like, so we really legit have a consultant almost on every street here. How do you compete with that? Well, you don't. And I learned that later on. So one of my fears as far as sponsoring also was that I was afraid of rejection. The bars and the warmers alone, that if I asked someone, to buy my products and they told me no, I would probably get my feelings a little bit hurt. So imagine asking someone to put down $99 and start a business with me. That would just have me on the floor. So I was like, not doing it. Well, as time went on, I was having so much fun, and I had one of my good customers message me one day saying, hey, I'm thinking about joining. And so she was like, what do I do? And I was like, I really don't know what to tell you because I just didn't have the experience with the sponsorship relationship. I was like, but you can join. It's fun and we can kind of figure this out together. I didn't want to meet with her. I didn't want to go over the consultant's guide, just nothing. It was just not a good look. But anyway, I ended up earning my first trip to Cyprus. And it was literally by default. I earned it because my friend wanted to join, and then another stranger joined, a college student joined. And because those two joined, I met the requirements, to earn the trip to Cyprus. But that was actually a good thing for me. When I made it over to Cyprus, I did not own a Scentsy shirt. I didn't know about branding, marketing. For a long time, I didn't know about Facebook support groups. I didn't know about flyer groups. I was literally just posting a picture, old school, of a warmer that I had, and I liked it. That was it. But anyway, I was doing a little bit of events and stuff too. So I get over to Cyprus and I start meeting all these directors and, even star consultants, superstar consultants that earned this trip. Everyone had on their Scentsy gear. And I was just kind of like this little fish coming out of water, just with my jaw dropped. But it was at that time where I was like, okay, Scentsy is way bigger than what I could have imagined. So I started soaking in information from everybody there. And they were like, imagine if you were purposeful. And that's what we're going to get into tonight. Imagine if you were purposeful and intentional about your business, how much further you could go if you made it here pretty much almost on a whim. So that's when I decided to go to SFR. So I went to my first SFR in Nashville. And, they do say that leaders are born at events. If you have not gone to SFR, I highly recommend right now, tonight, don't wait, that you register for Anaheim. Between Cyprus, just talking to people casually, and then going to SFR is what sealed it for me. I was able to get a lot of knowledge, a lot of training, a lot of motivational speaking. I was super excited about the product reveals. And so what I did is I created a vision board, if you will. And everything that I had on my vision board, I didn't have a lot on there, but I said that I wanted to be a director because at that point I felt like it was possible. Whereas before the year and a half, it just wasn't an option. And so I also said that I wanted to have 30 people on my team, within the next about 3 months. And I wanted to go on the next trip, which was Punta Cana. And the fourth one is I wanted to do more events. Well, I hit all of those and I surpassed Punta Cana because I ended up in South Africa, which, well, I just ended up there. It's still, for me, it's still kind of unbelievable coming from where I started, from someone who did not want to sponsor. And I had to sponsor my tail off a little bit, to get to Africa. So with that being said, all of a sudden, my team grew. From SFR, 2 months later, I became a director, and I was like, whoa, my whole Scentsy world shifted, and I needed to get organized because I'm not an Excel spreadsheet type person. Literally, I've been successful, but not an organized success, if you will. So I realized then that I needed to get my act together because there was other people that were depending on me. So If you do not have one of these, I highly recommend that you get one. But my superstar director sent me Carol Bishop Hoff sent me a day planner. It has a lot of motivational phrases throughout it, but it's very helpful for me. There's one that's actually on the in the family store. It was just released like, I don't know, Friday, I believe, a few days ago. But I'm going to show you mine because what it does is it tracks my PRV, my team's PRV, our group wholesale volume, and then also what it does is it gives me trends. So I kind of know what to look for month over month when we have our slumps, when we're doing well. One thing about my team is we like to put in orders, I don't know about you guys, but on the very last day of the month, almost at the last hour. I don't know why, but my team likes to do that. So now I'm encouraging them and training them, now that I know that, how to kind of, I guess, top load your month. And I also top load my month, not just with sales, but also with recruitment and sponsoring. So I'll give you an example. This month for the United States, we are, they said on our leadership call, we're flatlined as far as sponsorship is concerned. That doesn't mean that we didn't go up and we're not going down. We're just kind of flatlined. For me, I have sponsored 4 and counting. I hope to have 1 more by the end of the month. And what I'm doing is I have a roadmap for them. And I'm going to see if I can pull this up. I'm going to get a little bit more savvy with Zoom, guys. But I have a roadmap for them on my team page. And I don't care if your team consists of 5 people. Go ahead. You can create a team page for your team as well. You want to start building that relationship and that rapport with them. So that way when you do promote, and you will promote to director, if that's what your desires are, you'll already have that rapport and that transition will be there. On my roadmap, I have an album on our Facebook group, and it has everything that a new consultant will need. Some people learn differently. Some people are hands-on learners. Some people are visual learners, what have you. I'm a Facebook person because I'm there anyway for personal reasons, and then I'm there for my VIP customers, and now I'm there for my team. So for me, it's a one-stop shop. Some people might go out, and that's totally fine. It's personal preference where they may have Marco Polo. And that's kind of a modern day walkie-talkie app. I just like to have everything in one area. So I'm going to see if I can turn this around here. But I have this really cool album that helps me out. I have a flyer for everything. I have a welcome flyer, and so it's ready to go as soon as we get a new team member. And I can either copy it and paste it into our discussion, or I can just simply tag them and say, hey, welcome to Team Purple Explosion. We're so glad to have you here. And all of a sudden they get this beautiful welcome, visual. But then there's also a video link where they can see Heidi and Orville welcoming them to Scentsy. It's all right there. They can get it from their workstation, if they want to, but they're already there on our team page. We're already in celebration with them. So it's there. And then I also have a flyer about the new consultant checklist. That is so important. Sometimes I may have a new sponsor that's kind of struggling, and they're like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to make shooting star. And I was like, well, you haven't even checked off your checklist yet. So I know that I have that there now. And what I'll do is just kind of keep track of them. Everything is right there in the roadmap where I can say, oh, wonderful, Megan has completed her roadmap in the system. I see that. Congratulations. But then I can also follow along and tag and say, don't forget, Courtney, to complete that, so that way it'll help you be successful. So I have that. I also have, I'm going to turn this around and show you guys here. I'm pulling it up. Albums, and it's just one album. And it says sponsors and new consultants, because also as you start building your team, you're going to start building different generations. And so I believe in teaching people how to fish and not fishing for them. So even with the sponsors, I can tag them to say, hey, you've got a new recruit. Here's all the information that you need. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is the album, and then here is the welcome flyer. And then the first thing I want them to know is about their shooting star the first 15 days. So there's a flyer there, and then there's also a video link with Anique, I believe that's how you say her name, in Canada. And it just kind of tells them everything that they need to know for the first 15 days. Then there's a flyer here with a link to YouTube. showing them how to create their very first launch party. And then I also have the information for consultant support, because guess what, guys, believe it or not, consultant support is there. There's paid staff that can kind of help us with sponsorship. That was one of the things that I was worried about as far as growing my team, was how can I be there for everybody all the time? Well, you don't have to be. Yes, we have, we sponsor them, but then there's other questions like, that comes into customer service. But anyway, they're there to help them. Sometimes it can kind of get technical, but I have that information there. I also have a flyer for UPS, and I have information about setting up, the app, so that way they can get notifications for their deliveries. One thing that's really huge is the Ascent Academy. I hope I'm pronouncing it properly, but I have the spreadsheet there. And sometimes it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. When I joined, I didn't really know about that. So I want to make sure that my team members know about it, especially right now. If you're not familiar with it, get familiar with it, because it's another way for you to earn your way to this Anaheim. And also you can earn more points for the incentive trip too. I believe 10%, 15% more points if you follow the requirements of this program. So I have that there. And that way there's no reason and no excuse for someone to come on board and say, I didn't know, no one, didn't tell me. It's right there, and it's right there at your fingertips too. There's also a new consultant webinar that happens. And usually home office will get in contact with the new consultant to let them know. But I have information there. And then also I have information about their starter kit. And then also the top leader tips. So let me say this, based on what Jessica said and how we met. I remember, I think I was on Facebook Live at one point, and another consultant that I met in Nashville was like, wait a minute, you're with the Lucy Liu, you're with Jessica. I was like, I don't know their names. I was like, I'm in this car in the snow with them, and I don't know their names. But it wasn't until I figured it out later who I was with. And then after I left Nashville and I got home and I'm on YouTube and I'm like, they're all over the place. I was like, I was in the car with them for 6 hours. But anyway, they're up here too. So I have top leader tips, information that I would like for my new consultants to know about. And there's just different links there, just giving them tips of what top leaders wish they would have known before they got started. And then also Scentsy Pay. I have another flyer here for Scentsy Pay. And so that way they can get that set up. And then also Party with a Purpose, which is huge. Now, here's the key. You do not want to overwhelm your new consultant when they first join. That's a lot of information. And usually what I do when I get someone new is I just focus on the first 15 days, nothing more and nothing less. They need to obviously be welcomed, and they need to create a launch party. And then other than that, making connections, setting up a Facebook page, a business page, setting up their launch party, be it at home, an event, however they want to work it, or even a basket party to take to work. That's all that I want them to do. And then once they hit the first 15 days, then the time ticker is off. And there's no doubt if they've made it, to Shooting Star, that they can get to certified. So it just kind of gives us a little breathing room after the 15 days to get them to the next level. There was something else important that I was going to tell you about that, getting them to Shooting Star. It'll come back to me. But anyway, that's the most top thing that I focus on, so that way they don't get overwhelmed. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you. If you know somebody that is interested in joining your team, it could be someone that's been sitting on the fence, saying, oh, I would, but I don't have time, or whatever the case may be. Whatever their reason is, whatever their excuse is, when you ask them, because you should be asking everybody. Everybody should be asked to join your team. But while they're waiting and they're considering and they're coming up with reasons, you need to get a basket in their hand. And you might say, well, a basket is too expensive. No, it doesn't have to be. A basket could be as simple as this. I had one of the military spouses, her mom came over to get some bars, and then she came over again to order some bars, and then she came again. And I was like, goodness, she would be a great consultant. She wanted a diffuser, and I was like, you should consider joining my team. Well, she was like, well, I need to get back to Hawaii, and then when I get settled, I'll figure it out. Well, she got back to Hawaii, and I contacted her, and I said, listen, I know that you're on the fence. And if you would allow me to, I would like to send you some scent samples and a couple of catalogs. I would love for you to get that diffuser, but not pay full price for it. And you know what I did? I paid $6 and some change. I sent her just a handful of testers because that's all that I had laying around left. I sent her 2 catalogs, a join flyer, maybe a warmer of the month flyer, and and also a product guide. And I mean, that while I was in Africa, she ended up having a few ladies that came over to her house, and she sent me a message while I was on safari saying, I'm at $700. And I said, I'm not taking the commission on that. You're going to join my team. We're going to flip that party, and you're going to be a Scentsy consultant. Congratulations. And so she was so excited. She's like, I didn't realize that it would be this easy. And it's, I try not to mislead people, because what we do, especially depending on where you want to go with this, it's not just a piece of cake. If you want something, you do have to work for it. But she did work for it. She invited people over to her house, as simple as that. She put up all the warmers that she bought from me. She even put out light bulbs, for God's sake. I mean, I saw her display table, and so everyone was excited. They were just sniffing just a few of the scent testers they put in their orders. But let me explain what that did. As soon as she joined on day 1, she hit shooting star because she was already at $700. It did not take her but a couple more days to hit certified and promote. She is now at level 1, on the verge 200 away from level 2 for sensational start. I share this with you because you can start sponsoring even before they even join. If they're interested or they're giving you any inclination, you can get started now. Get a basket in everyone's hand, and it can be inexpensive. It could be a $10 basket that could come back to you. That one that went to Hawaii, I didn't want it back. But based on what she's doing, she's almost at $3,000. That little $10 basket's been paid for and done with, so she can do whatever she wants with it. And how am I doing on time? Okay, I think I'm doing good on time. So I just wanted to share that with you, because what it does is it also helps them. So now she's getting started, and she's like, wow, I just walked in the gate with my shooting star. And I'm like, yeah, So, and another one, after when I went to Kansas City, do not discount anybody like I do, and I need to stop. But I say that because I know better. But there was one person who wanted to join, and she asked a lot of questions as a customer, and I was like, I don't know if I want her on my team, because I don't know. I just had my own little hangups, and she's very, very, very introverted. So I was like, how's she going to sell anything? Because she's extremely introverted, and whatever. So I told her when I went to Kansas City, I said, I'm going to give you a basket. She works at a vet office. And I was like, you'll make the decision whether or not you want to join. Let's see how it works out. And if you get to $200, you get the rewards. And then you can decide if you want to flip that and become a consultant. Well, she ended up she was messaging me while I was at Kansas City. She ended up getting 500 PRV, almost instantly, like in 4 or 5 days. Dog stinks. They just do. The pets that were coming in stink. So the vets were buying it. Everyone was buying it. By the time I came back from Kansas City, she was also up at the 700s. And so here I was kicking myself, because I was like, I had told myself I did not want her on my team. And not in a derogatory way. She's a very sweet person. I almost kind of interview now internally to see, who I want on my team, because, you kind of do. So anyway, she ended up joining the team. And once again, the same thing like the lady from Hawaii, she just hit it out the gate, and she's doing extremely well right now. She's still introverted. She still asks a lot of questions, but now I'm able to divert her. I don't answer all her questions. I let her know where she can find her answers, and she's happy with that, and I'm happy with that as well. So the reason why I do that is so I want her to begin to join her team. She has a lot of family and friends in California, and because she's introverted, I know doggone well she's not going to answer everyone's questions. I want her to be able to show them how to look for their answers also, and it's right there on our team album. It's right there in the consultant's guide. Wherever I go, I also always have this with me too. Again, I've been with Scentsy for 2 years, and I don't care how long you've been with Scentsy. The only thing constant in any company is change, and there's always change. So I always like to look at this. This is so super easy to read, but if there's ever a question or whatever, I just stay up to date there. Another thing too to help you with sponsoring is get outside of your world, get outside of your comfort zone. There's different groups. Like I think last weekend we had a live global cast of speakers. I love to soak that in. And some of you might say, well, that went on 24 hours. How can we listen to all that? You may not be able to obviously listen to it for 24 hours straight. But for me, if I'm driving in the car, which I always am, I will have one on as I'm going out and I'm listening to it and I'm soaking it in. There are also, outside of Scentsy and the trainings that are offered, there are direct sales events just in general that can help you. And again, some of the top leaders have attended those and soaked in knowledge and information. Usually, and I'm not a book reader, guys, but I am now because I want to go far with this company. I love Scentsy. So Mindset, this was a book that Heidi had talked about at SFR. And had I had this in my hands the first year and a half, I probably would have been in better shape because my mindset would have changed that I could sponsor and I didn't have to be afraid of rejection and everything else. Also, as far as being cost effective, these little guys right here, these are the product sheets. They're much cheaper than the catalogs, right? And you can go on Heidi's Helpful Hints and different YouTube links and you can see where they're folded just magnificently and you can put your business card in there. I just don't have time in my life to do that. So what I do is I go to the Dollar Tree, get these bags, and I just fold them like a square, put it in here with my business card, and you can have a join flyer or you could make like a postcard from Vistaprint and personalize it. Whatever it is that you make, you want to maybe have your picture on it because people are less likely to throw the business card or the postcard away with your picture on it. It kind of personalizes the experience. But believe it or not, people do hold on to this stuff, and it doesn't matter where you go. One of the things I learned in New York when we went out to dinner, I was like, wow, everywhere that these ladies go, they're recruiting and they're sponsoring someone. It could be the waitress. They were just ready to go, and I wasn't, but I did take notes. And now I am ready. So wherever I go, I have one of those bags now too. So you can put, it doesn't even have to be anything expensive. Right now I have just a cube of the crisp orchid air scent in there. And I have, just our catalogs and everything like that. So I'm ready to go there. Doesn't have to be this expensive because these catalogs do cost a little bit more. So let me see here. I'm just going through my notes real quick to make sure that I've covered everything that I wanted to here. So this is what I want to say too. As far as recruitment is concerned, as I started picking up ground and I did get my team of 30, I'm actually at 80 right now, again, 2 years in and growing. One of the things that I do every single month is I never stop going for my shooting star incentive, if you will. Every month I'm trying to hit my sensational start as far as top loading my month. I want to get my sales complete by the 15th of the month. I've got 15 days to do that. And I do. Usually every month I get about 2,000 PRV or more. It could be 4,000, whatever the season is. But I try to go top heavy there. The same thing with my recruitment. I try to get anyone that's interested right now. They already have a basket in their hand. They're already collecting orders and they might change their mind. And that's fine because either way, we're getting an order in or I'm getting a lot of new consultants on the 1st. And even right now, you're at the end of August and you could put in a basket with, the winter catalogs, winter testers, and they can start collecting orders now and they can join your team on the 1st of September. So that's how you can actually top load your month, not just with sales, but also with recruitment as well. What else was there? So I'll say this. Where is my handy dandy organizer? In my organizer, your performance tab is your friend. If you have a team, you will want to, as much as I don't like spreadsheets and stuff, as I'm using it now. But what I do is I have a printout here with everyone that's going for their sensational start, so that way I can kind of keep track of where they are and so how I can support them. I also have a spreadsheet with the shooting star. I also have those that are going to be certified as well on Promotion Watch. So that way I have it there at all times and I can kind of look at my reports and see where they are. And then what I do is I turn it around and I personalize the experience by giving them a shout out on our team page and just saying, hey, so-and-so just made shooting star or you're 100 PRV away from getting it. That is very important to do. for several reasons, not just for the person that is up for Shooting Star or Sensational Start, but for everyone else around them. Because what happens is someone else might be struggling saying, this is impossible. How can we, hit Shooting Star in 15 days and I haven't got my kit yet or whatever. When they see that their team members are doing it, it becomes a very healthy competition, if you will, because not competition, that's not the right word I'm looking for. It becomes healthy motivation, if you will, where other people are looking at it and saying, oh, those three just hit it, so I could too if I put a little bit more effort into it. I also turn around on social media and I will congratulate them on their personal timeline as well. And what happens almost all the time, family members will chime in saying, oh my goodness, this is wonderful. You seem to be doing very well with your business. Family, friends that have supported. And then what that does is it also plants a seed for their circle to say, this seems like a really supportive company, which we are. It seems like a family. They may be interested in joining or continuing to buy, what have you. But either way it goes, that recognition becomes personalized and it goes a long way. So with that being said, guys, I'm no longer afraid to recruit. I wish I would have started recruiting and sponsoring the first day that I joined. And you just got to let go of your fears. Right now, we have this cruise that's coming up. All of us have the opportunity to be on there. If you want it and if you believe it. I just encourage you all to stay positive, to stay motivated. You guys have amazing leaders. You have the best of the best. They're, supporting you guys, rooting you along. Like I said, there's just a ton of resources out there. But take care of your people too. There's more to it. Once you get them in and they join, that's half the battle. But once they join you, then you need to take care of them. And if you can't recruit 4, 5, 6 a month and take care of all of them, then, at minimum, you should be recruiting and sponsoring, at least have a goal of 1 to 2 a month. And that's what's going to help catapult your business. So I hope that some of this resonates and helps you all with your businesses and gets you on that cruise ship, because like I said, it's very possible. And even Anaheim as well, you have an opportunity to earn that too. So let me know if you have any questions for me, and I'll be more than glad to answer them for you.
Okay, so I want to chime in really quickly because I'm going to tell you a few things that I took away, because I always do, I have it in my systems to do the, to kind of go and look up I usually do it on the 1st of the month and on the 15th. I think it's 2 days that I have in my systems. But I loved the printout. So I'm legit about to go print out. I know, Lucy, when you know that, you were like, what?
I'm like, where's my paper and pen?
Don't forget your highlighters.
Exactly. So I'm gonna legit go pull out my Sensational Start. Do that one and then do my certified. I love that promotion watch. And again, those are things that are in my systems to do. But I think if I had, I'm a pen and paper girl too. And I was like, I know there's a reason that I like Theresa, because I cannot stand worksheet. I cannot stand spreadsheets.
Me either.
Definitely, Lucy and myself, that's why we're right there hand in hand. So I love that. And I will tell you that you are one way up on us, because we have been wanting to do something of the sort for a really long time with our new team members, because I think that when it comes to what we personally do for our front line, it's been a lot of personal connection, but I think we dropped the ball. Because sometimes when people join, they may not be into the business, just like you talked about for yourself, in the beginning. And then let's say you recruited a rock star, but you really weren't trying to help. Not that you weren't trying to help them, but it just wasn't in the cards. You weren't really worried about that at that point. So I feel like where we have learned, and we actually, Lucy and myself recorded 6 videos the other day. So we have this whole new consultant series, if you will, that's going to come out. And
awesome.
And well, it kind of all started when you added me to your roadmap. So I was like, oh my gosh. And I took a picture. I'm like, we have to do it. So that was super, super big inspiration for us. But
thank you.
I think that, okay, let me ask, was my questions, because I know that so many of us are super pumped right now about the trip. And obviously being top 100 to go to Africa, you were definitely doing something right. So Let me ask you this: for your points when you went to Africa, just so other people can hear, like,
this is
where
gonna
do
be
you
funny.
think the majority of your points came from? Do you think that it was from the recruiting and getting them started off, or sales, or kind of even?
It was almost kind of even, because if I did not recruit, I wouldn't have been there. And I'll be honest, I was number 98. I was actually doing very well until we had that flash sale, and then I got bumped out the water. So where everyone was excited about the flash sale, I was mad. But anyway, the flash sale did me in. And so anyway, I ended up getting number 98. But when I look back at it, you guys have the best opportunity right now, because had we had this incentive trip going into January or whatever, I would have been doomed. But the fact that we had a new catalog that was coming out, and also the join special, and even this month, this is an awesome join special with the 149 deal. So the thing is, the best thing that you can do, because you have to have non-PRV points, is again, to recruit. And what I did is I couldn't just sponsor, because I was like, dang, you can't just get the people in the door. You got to get them to certify. Yeah. So I'm not an organized person. So I was like, I've got to come up with a roadmap and a system. And every time it worked. It didn't matter if I had a quiet mouse who joined me, or, all these people that joined lived in my neighborhood in this small town. And so what they say, I don't know who said it, but one of the top leaders said, do not be afraid to ask your next door neighbor to join you, because they know 200 people that you don't know, either family members or workers or whatever. But that system that I did, where I would recognize them and bring them on, I used an app called Lumiere. Mm-hmm. And I love the fireworks, because it's just a celebration, and I personalize it and I welcome them. And then all of a sudden their family's like, oh, I needed a Scentsy person. So then we're doing that. And then we're getting them to Shooting Star, because I'm constantly, like today, I have a new flyer that I used, and I was like, hey, I have a new guy on our team, Michael. And I was like, Michael, you're 5 days in. Let us know. I'm checking in on you to see how you're doing with your Shooting Star. How's it going? And this guy's phenomenal. But anyway, I'm checking up on him and everybody else. And then that's where questions come in and so on. But the biggest key is getting them to that 1,000. Once they get to that 500, then in their mind, their mindset changes, saying, wow, I can do this. And so I really think that was very critical for me, because I want to say that I got like maybe 8 from August to October, that hit certified. Also, another little cheat thing that is actually legit, is when Scentsy says to find people that used to be with Scentsy, you better start digging for them, because one of my recruits, or one of my front lines, is an active duty air woman in the Air Force, senior master sergeant. So she's very busy dealing with deployments and everything. Anyway, she's going on this cruise with us, on the Mediterranean cruise. She had someone that fell off of her team last year. All she needs is 60 doggone PRV to hit certified. 64 to be exact. So guess what? Her friend got orders to Alaska. She's got a new circle. She's going to get the 64. She's probably going to do very well. But one of the biggest things that you can do is go back through your list. I did that even recently this past month, and I've got people that are joining me that were at 500, 600 PRV. They might drop off again. This might be a part-time job for them just to get them through the holidays, and it's okay. It's okay. Scentsy is set up for that. So that's another thing that I used in my favor too, is I was like, they didn't even have to be on my team, but if they want to join my team, right.
Love it.
Yes.
And isn't it true? Like, I just kind of stress to our team members, especially the ones that are just joining us, like, they have the easier route to earn that cruise. Like, literally, it's just super easy for them. Yeah. They stay connected. Stay on our team page, get on our team calls, and just, put in the work. And just like you said, you really focus on the first 15 days. We do the same thing. And then, the next step is, so they could promote and get their 5% raise. That's the next step. But I'm just super excited, and we're still in the works. I kind of looked and glanced over your stuff too when I stayed at Jessica's that night. And we're like, we have to do this. We have to do this. Like, it's been in our head, and we talk about it all the time. But yeah, it's just another slap in the face that we need to finish it, because we're halfway there.
Well, I'm telling you, that was the key. That right there is what I credit to me getting to South Africa was that roadmap. Had I not been there, you know, I have 4 kids, a husband just retired from the Air Force. I would have been all over the place, just my normal basket case. So, but I am successful now because I have this organized system that works for me. And like I said, that's what really helped me get to South Africa, because the people that I brought on, I had a one-stop shop right there that I could go to and support them and give them all the resources they need. The biggest thing was also recognizing them too, because if they're hitting these milestones, and that's what I try to tell my downlines too, if you have someone underneath you that just worked hard, busted their butt, and got shooting star, and you don't say anything about that, it's no different than working outside of Scentsy and, you know, doing a killer job and no one says anything about it. It goes a long way, I think.
Yes. I totally believe that. Does anybody have any questions for Theresa? I know we kept on talking us, but do y'all have any questions for her?
The consistency too, just make sure with the map that's laid out for this trip, you know, there's certain things that you should have in the bag, like the 500 PRV, the things that you absolutely can control, you can control that. And basically what Scentsy is saying is we're going to give you a double promo of points just for doing what we encourage you to do all year round, you know, so be consistent. So go ahead and map out your plan, make sure you have a map, and make sure, don't assume that your frontline has a plan. I asked one of mine the other day and she goes, yeah, I did. And she sent me a picture of a boat. And I don't know if you guys know that boat that's going around that you highlight when you get so many points. And I was like, that's not a plan. I was like, that's a boat where you get to check off your points. I said, but we need to get a plan made for you so you can get on that actual boat. So, but anyway, let me know if you have any questions for me. You're welcome to reach out to me. You can friend request me on, you know, Facebook. Lucy, if you want to get into this group too, so you can even cut and paste or take any of this information, you're more than welcome to. Just let me know and I'll add you tonight. But I hope to see you guys there on the Mediterranean with us.
Yes.
That is, we will be there. We will.
Yes. If that doesn't motivate you, then I don't know what else can and will.
I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
Anybody? Before Theresa goes, I don't want to keep her too long. Y'all quiet today.
Well, we're quiet tonight.
I know. We had 20 people. I'm super excited about that at the max.
Yay. That's awesome.
To process everything.
Oh, she said I'm trying to process everything.
Yes. Well, hey, listen, when y'all do get on this cruise ship, start planning now as far as your leave. If you're working another job, my husband and I took full advantage and we went to Ireland. Scentsy paid for the flight there. It was absorbed in the cost. And then we went to South Africa. And then from South Africa, we spent a week with my family in Germany. And it was all paid for because it was within the budget. So that's something I didn't know going to Cyprus. But anyway, so there's just so much more. You can have a dream trip of your life. So
that's
if you want it, yeah. We have a very generous company.
Very. Alrighty, guys. Well, I don't want to keep Theresa too long, but thank you so much, Theresa. Like you, you inspired us to go ahead and freaking finish our roadmap.
Yay! Well, you inspired me to start using Zoom. This was fun.
Right? Don't you? I love Zoom. Like, I know Facebook Live is easier sometimes, but I like it because I like them to be able to interact. You know,
yeah.
You can see. I love it. I think our team really likes it. But that's about it. Lucy, you have anything else?
All right. No, that's all. So you guys have a wonderful evening, and it's still early on. We're still in August. You guys can do this. Get your roadmaps together and have your own plan and start thinking like a leader. No matter what your title is, even if it's essential, you are a leader and it starts today. So love you guys very much and wishing the best for you guys. Bye.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.